Some fans of Corey Harrison, the big hoss on the hit reality TV show Pawn Stars, have said that he looks like a junkie, which is strange because of how big and charming he is and how real he is, all of which have been key to the show's success. A show that helped him build a great career in show business as Rick Harrison's oldest son and made him a famous star. His grandfather died and his father was planning to retire. This means that the third in command is now in line to become the boss of the gold and silver loan shop. However, even though the reality TV star loves pawn shops and collecting things, he has had to deal with a number of problems. Fans already knew about some of them, but Corey also had other personal problems and painful problems that only close friends and family knew about. Come with us as we tell you everything you need to know about this, and why the death of Corey Harrison is such a sad story. His grandpa opened the gold and silver coin shop on Las Vegas Boulevard South in 1981, 2 years before Corey was born. It was a 300 square foot store that sold used things. Because the family business was small and didn't pay enough, Rick worked at the shop during the day and took back cars at night. After that, Rick and his family had a baby boy named Corey in 1983. And it became important for the family to leave something lasting that this happy baby boy and his brothers would someday get. By the time Corey was 3 years old, his father and grandfather had moved their small business to a bigger space at 413 Fremont Street because they worked so hard. Moving to a new place made things better, at least for the next 2 years. Then they had an unexpected setback when they lost their lease. They were in a bad situation and needed to find a new place quickly. They were lucky because they were able to find a new building in a business area on Las Vegas Boulevard. They moved in and started growing their used goods business. But the Harrisons were thinking about turning their store into a pawn shop. For them, this was the next step that made sense if they wanted to go beyond being a used goods shop. That being said, they had a big problem, a law from 1955 in Las Vegas. The law said that the number of new loan licenses that could be given out had to be limited by the population of the city. And their city had to have more than 250,000 people for them to get their license. The only trouble was that there were just over 200,000 people living in Las Vegas in 1988. It was said that Rick talked to the city's analyst every week to find out when there were 250,000 people living in the city. By 1989, his prayers had been answered as Las Vegas had hit the right number of people. He also got the pawn license after some legal trouble. The Harrisons didn't waste any time. They opened the gold and silver exchange shop at 713 Las Vegas Boulevard South in the same year. It is less than 2 miles from the Las Vegas Strip. So it's safe to say that Corey and the family business stock grew up together. Even Corey's mother Kim had a big job at the gold and silver pawn shop, so Corey and his brother Adam spent most of their time there. It was bad that their parents split up, because the boys had to stay with their dad. They were married for 9 months before their dad met Tracy on a secret double date. She would later become his second wife. They moved in together after meeting for 6 months, and 8 months later they got married. Tracy was then in charge of taking care of Corey and Adam. It wasn't a surprise that Corey had grown up as a big brother and was now taking on some responsibility. He chose to start his job by working at the shop when he was 9 years old. Over time, the company grew and became well known in Las Vegas, and their income started to rise as their fame grew. The shop was lending about $3 million a year and getting back about $700,000 in interest by the time Corey was 22. A lot of people were interested in the shop, and in 2003, it was even shown on the show Insomniac with Dave Attell. But that wasn't the best part yet. Rick Corey's father had been trying to get people to use his pawn shop as the setting for a show about pawn shops for 4 years, but no one was interested. Then, in 2008, Brett Montgomery and Colby Gaines from Left Field Pictures were in Las Vegas and had the idea for Pawn Stars. The two liked how the interesting people who went into these one-of-a-kind pawn shops interacted with each other, so they decided to make a show about one. When they learned that the gold and silver pawn shop was close to the Las Vegas Strip and had more than 10,000 items for sale, it was the right place to film the show. The show was first called Pawn in History, but later it was renamed to Pawn Stars, which sounds like porn stars. When it started in 2009, the show quickly made the Harrison family famous. It became popular and kept coming back every year because people loved it. Another big reason the show was a hit was how the family dealt with each other, their clients and workers. Fans really liked Corey because he was a third-generation pawn dealer and was very good at judging the value of things. He also brought in more items than any other worker. It was possible for him to do this because he was so good at spotting fake things. He got good at his job over time, though. When he was 19, he thought he knew everything there was to know about buying and selling. But the streets taught him a hard lesson. He bought 5 fake Rolex watches, which was a terrible mistake. I thought I knew everything he said as he thought back on that time. Buying those fake watches was a huge mistake. Thank goodness I worked for my dad. I might have lost my job if I didn't. It was a hard lesson to learn after losing a lot of money, but I never did it again. You only make that mistake once. This experience made him better at what he does and taught him more about the business. It also taught him how important it is to do study and be careful when handling valuable items. A lot of these things shocked people when he talked about some interesting ones. Corey told the story of someone who tried to pawn a live bird, but Corey turned them down. He wouldn't buy from a customer because he was talking about something else. 8 human skulls were brought in by a guy who said they were from a dental school. Corey didn't get them because he thought it might get him in trouble with the law later. In Corey's other memorable event, a man showed up in a fancy car with a trunk full of silver worth several $1,000,000. Someone else came straight from the casino to get cash quickly to play his games. And Corey had to help the man as early as 7 a.m. because the customer wanted to sell his Ferrari. Many of these crazy things caused arguments between Corey and his dad because they are from different generations and have different views on life, which means they choose different things to buy. But even Corey's dad couldn't deny that he had shown great traits in running the business every day, especially his ability to build relationships. That's why he was put in charge of hiring and firing staff. As the manager of the gold and silver pawn shop, he was responsible for more than 30 workers, showing that he could handle both leadership duties and day-to-day tasks. He was still very important to the shop's growth because he worked there himself. Fans praised Corey's skill judgment when they learned it was he who hired Chumley, who was 21 years old, to work at the gold and silver pawn shop. Corey had clearly seen that Chumley had what it takes to be great when it came to helping people. Chumley was loved by everyone in the Harrison family's extended family because he was so good at getting along with others. People liked him because he was different and quirky, which made him an important and interesting character on the show and helped him gain his own fans. Chumley had grown into more than just an employee over time, which shows how smart Corey is. That brilliantness went beyond the shop. Corey made the Harrison family more visible on social media by giving them more power and fun new recreation areas. He, Rick, and Chumley had a great guest spot on iCarly in an episode called I Lost My Head in Vegas. The episode showed how silly they could be, which made fans love them even more. Then, in July 2014, Rick joined the two to start a new business with the History Channel game show Pornography. On the show, the three of them were in a high-stakes trivia fight with other contestants, and their goal was to stop the other contestants from winning cash and prizes from their favorite pawn shop. Fans said that the show was a fun and interesting way to connect with other fans and that it gave them another side to their public personas. Fans thought that Corey's work and his ability to combine business sense with media knowledge had made his part in the family business stronger. It became clear pretty quickly that Corey and his dad didn't always get along. The conflicting and cooperative relationship between a father and son shows how hard it can be to work closely with family. Especially in a high-stakes business setting, Corey wanted a bigger part in the family business, which made things worse between them in Season 6 of Pawn Stars. But Rick, who owned most of the business and was co-owner with Corey's grandfather Richard, seemed to think that Corey still had a lot to prove. Corey wasn't happy and thought his father hadn't been fair to him, even though he had done a lot to help the family business. To show he meant business, he asked for a 10% stake in the gold and silver pawn shop and told his father he would leave if he wasn't given it. Some fans thought this was a brave but necessary move. Others thought Corey could have just waited a few more years and gotten what was rightfully his instead of giving up. After a lot of thought, Rick chose to give Corey a 5% stake in the family business, with the chance of getting even more in the future. When Corey agreed to the deal, it was a big turning point in his life. Reports say that Corey's shares have grown over the years thanks to his growing sense of duty, even though Rick still owned the majority stake. Although Corey clearly wants to take over the shop, he will have to deal with some tough situations in order to do so. Things have gone wrong and been hard on that road too over the years. An accident Corey was in one year almost killed him. In order to get things for his birthday party, Corey had to get off his bike, which was going 40 miles per hour. Even though the accident was very bad, that could be very bad, to the hospital right away. The quick move made the bike spin out of control and fall apart. After that, he went to the doctor because he hurt his hand badly and needed surgery where 8 screws were put in. Corey thought he was very lucky to be living after what happened because he had come so close. Corey had also reached a point in his health where his doctor had to step in because of that close call. Corey had been known as the big guy on Pawn Stars for a long time. Big Hoss weighed 400 pounds at his biggest. At some point, his health started to suffer because of his weight, and his doctor had to give him medicine to keep him from getting diabetes. Corey learned a lesson when he learned he was at risk for diabetes. It made him rethink his lifestyle. He was feeling a little down one day as he drove home from the doctor's office. Along the way, he saw a clinic that did lap band surgery and decided to act right away. He told Good Morning America, "I remember being kind of scared
After
on
the
the
surgery,
way home
he
from the
looked
doctor's
completely
office
different
when I
which
saw the
shocked
place where they
everyone.
do lap band
This made him
surgeries.
even more
I
determined
just
to
pulled
do
over and
everything he
asked,
could to
how
reach
much
his
does it
weight
cost
loss
to have
goal.
the surgery?
He committed to regular checkups
He didn't
for his
have
band
much
and
money at
started
the time
living
that
a
I took
very
out
different
4
life.
credit cards and put them on that. He
Even
started
though
to
Corey
think about
didn't
when he
have
was
much cash
eating
on hand,
and drinking.
he used
and started
4 credit
choosing
cards
better
to pay
foods
for the
and drinks
surgery.
instead of
This
junk
was the
food.
beginning of a big
He said at
change in
one
his
point,
life.
I can only eat a little bit
By
of
making
food,
the
now I
brave
check to
choice
see if
to
it's
improve
good
his
stuff.
health.
He also made
a new
exercise
phase
an
in both
important
his
part of his
personal and work
timetable.
life.
Because of how well he changed, his friends pushed him to do his best. His friend Chumley was motivated by his success to start losing weight too. However, while Corey was getting better, his grandpa, the old man, was fighting Parkinson's disease, which most people didn't know much about. He passed away on June 25, 2018, and he was 77 years old. After Corey died, his father Rick told his many Instagram fans the sad news, pointing out Parkinson's disease as the reason. Corey also told his grandfather how thankful he was. His words about the old man made him sound like a friend who made their time at the shop and on the Pawn Stars the best. And if things couldn't get worse in 2018, Corey and Karina Kiki Harrison got a divorce in September 2018 because of their busy work plans. They were friendly when they split up, and their marriage had already paid off when their son, Richard Benjamin Harrison, was born. Kiki was Corey's second wife, and they had been married for only a year. In the same way that his father did, Corey has had trouble with partnerships. The split from Kiki was his second. Charlene, his high school friend, was his first wife. They got married in 2009 and split up in 2015. It was said that Corey and Kiki might be back together, but they never said for sure. People have also linked Corey to Tara Paisley, who is the blonde person in his most recent Instagram pictures. He may have changed because of the problems he has with relationships. He was caught in Las Vegas on September 8, 2023, when a police officer saw his white Ford pickup truck weaving around near Main Street and Charleston Boulevard. The police officer thought Corey was drunk because his car smelt like alcohol. A field sobriety test was given to Corey, who had come to Vegas that day from Minnesota to film Pawn Stars Do America. He failed the test. He was taken to the jail in Las Vegas. Corey had to give a blood sample because the breathalyzer in the jail was broken. We still don't know how the test went, but he was arrested on suspicion of driving while impaired based on the facts. In the end, he was charged with DUI. A Las Vegas newspaper reported that Corey was going to hire a lawyer to protect himself. He said, "I'm not going to tell the police to forget about it. Drinking and driving is okay. If someone hits me, I'm going to fight back. I don't want to be that person." Besides that, he said he only had one drink on the flight to Las Vegas 7 hours before he was pulled over, and he didn't drink again after arriving. He said his car leans to the right most of the time, and explained why they did not do well on the test of sobriety. He was shaky because his shin was infected, and he had trouble keeping his balance on the bumpy road where he was stopped. At the same time, some police officers had to leave for another emergency. When the police cars sped by, Corey talked about how he felt on trying to balance on one leg, then the other. Besides that, he said that his license wasn't being taken away because of what happened, but things were about to get much worse. Sad to say, Corey's brother died on January 20th, 2024, at the age of 39. Clark County, Nevada, stated that Adam died from an accidental overdose of fentanyl and methamphetamine. This was confirmed by the county's medical examiner. He wasn't moving when his employer found him because someone else was worried because they hadn't seen him since January 17th. The 19th, Corey shared an Instagram picture of himself and Adam at a restaurant with the words, "You'll always be in my heart. I love you." Adam with a heart-shaped button. Laura Herlovich, a family spokesperson, revealed on January 22nd that Adam had died from an overdose of fentanyl. She said, "We are very sad about Adam's death. Please give us space while we mourn his death." The growing opioid problem in the country was also talked about by Corey's dad, calling for more attention to it. Many people sent Rick their condolences after he shared a touching message about his son Adam. "I'm really sorry, man," even Donald Trump Jr. said in a heartfelt letter. Corey was very upset about his brother's quick death, which was making him feel bad. He also put a picture of them as kids on Instagram and wrote, "I'll always love you." Bubba Adam Harrison allegedly worked at Gold Silver Pond before becoming a plumber, even though he wasn't on Pawn Stars. Corey told the host that Adam didn't want to be on the show. Even though Corey lost, he stayed in the news because he stars in the second season of Pawn Stars Do America with his father Rick and friend Chumley. Corey was seen working on projects when he wasn't behind the camera. It was said that a new season was being planned, which made people think that the Gold Silver Pawn Shop would be releasing more. During this sad time, rumors began to spread about Corey's health. Someone who saw him asked, "What's wrong with Corey?" "Today I went to Gold and Silver Pawn Shop and took a picture with him. He looks really rough. Does he seem okay? Is he not feeling well? Or has he been using drugs?" I do know that his brother died. Some people thought he might have had a stroke or another major health problem. Someone even said, he really looks like he's high. There isn't any solid proof to support these claims though, and neither Corey nor anyone else in the Harrison family has confirmed or denied them. For fans, this has added another level of doubt and worry as the Harrison family deals with their own loss. Corey's story, on the other hand, shows a man who has been through a lot and has shown amazing strength and determination. Many people became fans of him through Pawn Stars. But it's his bravery and strength that really move people. This man still works at the gold and silver pawn shop and carries on the work of his father and grandpa. People who watch the show know that Big Hoss will soon be in charge, since Rick is rumored to be retiring and going into politics.